Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. Battlefield 5 has finally launched, well, for most people anyway, and with it has come an early patch. It's addressed several major bugs Origin Premier subscribers dealt with during the game's early access period. It fixed a team stacking issue where teams could end up with significantly more than 32 players. It also fixed a bug that prevented reviving for all players on the server. In the airborne game mode, the spawn planes take less damage from AA guns now, and attackers get spawn protection on them. The patch has also enabled NVIDIA's ray tracing technology. Players with the 2000 series NVIDIA GPUs can enable this feature in the advanced options menu. As expected, enabling this feature tanks the FPS by around 50% when set to Ultra. 1440p and lower resolutions will still maintain a somewhat playable 60 FPS with a 2080 Ti. The lower settings offer comparable quality with slightly improved FPS. DAYZ is working to optimize the DXR performance. Aside from the FPS cut, it also seems to cause stuttering and other performance issues. Personally, I wouldn't get my hopes up for the ray tracing functionality in Battlefield 5. Really, you would want higher FPS anyway. Cutting your FPS in half for ray tracing just isn't worth it. In a future update, DAYZ will be rebalancing a few things. Firstly, the Conquest comeback mechanic is getting a nerf. Currently, the losing team in a close match of Conquest gets a capture speed boost that lets them reclaim flags faster than the winning team. DAYZ has agreed that this is a little bit too aggressive and plans to tone this down. Resupply points for planes will eventually be moved further away from infantry combat areas. Pilots will also have to reload after resupplying instead of just instantly having full ammo. Finally, bombers are getting tweaked to prevent pilots from decimating the other team at the start of a round. Other improvements like the overall weapon balance, streamlining the menu system, and tweaks to the progression system are top priorities for DAYZ, but we don't know when those will be coming. The first chapter of Battlefield 5's Tides of War DLC launches on December 4th. The launch includes the vehicle-focused map SANDSTORM, a training range, vehicle customization, the final War Stories chapter called The Last Tiger, and a new chapter-based progression system with cosmetic items, challenges, and missions. If you're not sure about Battlefield 5 or you want to get my full in-depth thoughts, yesterday I published a full review of the game. It's over 20 minutes long. I went in on the pros and cons, what I think about it in its current state, and what I think we can expect from it in the future. If you really want to get my full in-depth thoughts, go check that out. I'll put a link in the video description. PUBG is finally coming to the PlayStation 4. The Battle Royale shooter launched on Xbox One in December of last year. Since then, rumors and speculation have suggested a PS4 version was in the works. The PlayStation 4 version will launch on December 7th. Pre-ordering unlocks cosmetic items that are based on the Uncharted and Last of Us games. PUBG's devs recently banned over 90,000 players in 1 week at the beginning of the month. That's up from the estimated 40,000 bans per week before the most recent wave. What exactly caused the uptick in bans hasn't been revealed. Fix PUBG is officially over. With the 3-month-long endeavor to address the game's major bugs behind them, the devs have updated their goals for 2019. They'll continue to polish the game until it's a more stable, quality product. New content like maps, vehicles, and weapons will be worked on, but it'll be fewer and further between than it's been this year. The latest patch for the game is currently available on the test server, and it includes the long-awaited name change item. The item will only allow you to change your test server name until the patch is live. Black Ops 4 drew the ire of the community a couple weeks ago when the black market progression system was added to the game. It required over 200 hours of playtime to complete, or $250 of real-world money to pay for everything it offered. To ease the outrage this caused, Treyarch updated the game to give players 1 bonus level per day just for winning a match or a merit in Blackout. The same update also added NUKETOWN for PlayStation 4 players. The fan favorite map has been remade yet again and will find its way to PC next week. As for balance changes, Ajax's obnoxious 9-bang was nerfed, its effect duration was reduced by 25% and is now countered more effectively by the tactical mask perk. Hunt Showdown, the game that loosely follows the Battle Royale format, has a new map. Lawson Delta features 3 main areas, a prison, fort, and train station. It's denser and focuses players more towards the center of the map than the game's existing level. The update also adds a skill-based matchmaking system. Movement has been tweaked to include inertia mechanics as well. Players will now accelerate and decelerate while moving. This should cut down the AD-AD spam and make general player movement a bit easier to track. Down players will now drop their weapons, allowing others to pick them up as contraband loot. Insurgency Sandstorm's latest update is massive. The game's recoil system has been updated to be a bit more punchy. A new map called Precinct was initially planned to release with this update but was pushed back due to performance issues. In its place, the refinery map featured in the closed alpha was added back to the game. Performance overall has been further optimized, which should hopefully result in less demand on your CPU and RAM. The cosmetic unlocks will be easier to earn as the cost for most item tiers has been reduced by 33%. AI bots should be a bit more tactical in co-op play. The actual patch notes are 18 pages long and include dozens of other tweaks and changes to the game. Another tactical FPS, Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, also got a pretty significant update. Update 12 adds 4 new guns, 2 remasters of fan favorite maps from Red Orchestra 2, and the original Rising Storm, as well as some big performance improvements. Since Rising Storm 2's release last year, it's gotten 12 new maps and even more weapons. DAYZ is finally in beta. After 5 years and numerous missed deadlines, version 0.63 is finally here. It adds vehicles, base buildings, new sounds, player restraints, and tons of other tweaks. Over the next few weeks, the devs will be focusing on the stability of all the new features. Once they've achieved that, DAYZ's 1.0 version will officially be live. That's expected to happen before the end of the year. While DAYZ's time may have come and gone to a certain extent, it's nice to see them finally getting close to the finish line. Future updates will flesh out the game's content and mechanics a bit more. Rainbow Six Siege is having a free-to-play weekend on all platforms. Any progress made with the free version of the game will carry over should you choose to buy it. The game is currently on sale until the 30th. Its next operation, called Wind Bastion, is being teased ahead of a full reveal this week. It includes 2 new operators, Cade and Nomad. The newest hero for Overwatch, ASHE, is now available to all players. She's a damage hero that has a semi-auto rifle and can call in a robot champion as her ultimate. The same update patch also made minor balance adjustments to Mercy, Reaper, Roadhog, and Symmetra. TELLTALE's point-and-click adventure games are being delisted from some digital storefronts. Their Jurassic Park and Back to the Future games both disappeared from Steam. The company recently shut down, laying off all their employees without paying them severance. They're currently liquidating their remaining assets and being sued by former employees. The Xbox One finally has native support for keyboard and mouse input. The feature is in testing as part of the Xbox Insider program and is supported in a handful of titles. Ideally, all games on the console will support keyboard and mouse once the feature is publicly available. That said, it will likely be the game developer's choice to implement support or not, as this will be controversial for many titles. PlayStation is not making an appearance at E3 2019. Sony opted to pull out of the annual conference for the first time in 24 years. Both Microsoft and Nintendo have confirmed they will be attending E3 as usual next year. Overall, E3 has gotten much more crowded and frankly less important, especially to large entertainment companies that can afford to host their own press events. Sony doesn't have any major exclusive titles to announce, and the PlayStation 5 likely won't be revealed until at least 2020. So, in a way, it kind of makes some sense for them to skip E3 this time around. That said, it's still a massive shift, not just for Sony, but for E3 overall. In our final story this week, Star Citizen is having a free-to-play week starting on the 23rd. All of the game's content, including its ships, will be free to try out for everyone. The game's first inhabited planet is also launching during the free-to-play week. It was revealed back in October and will be the first time players really get to experience a hint at the game's full scope. Many players who already have access to this content are posting footage online, and it looks truly stunning. One of the game's biggest ships is also now spawnable in one of the test universe hangars, although it doesn't actually even fit in the hangar, but it does indicate that perhaps we will be getting to test out an even bigger ship in the near future. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know which story you thought was the most interesting in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.